Welcome you this morning to these Drainage District Board of Directors meeting for today, March the 5th, 2013. President Cuellar, Commissioner Cuellar, Precinct 1, Palacios, Precinct 2, Palacios, Precinct 4, and myself. We have a quorum. Is there anything under open forum? Anybody sign up?
No, sir.
All right. Our consent agenda, any concerns?
We have no concerns.
Move for approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Item 4,
Judge, Commissioners, we're going to be requesting on item 4 that the district recess till 1:30 to reconvene at the City of Edinburgh Community Center next door. We will be receiving bids for the district at around 11 o'clock, and we will come back and address that with the board when the bids are in, but we can go through the rest of the agenda item. Can I proceed, Judge?
where is this meeting going to be?
It's going to be here, City of Edinburgh, in the community room, which is down the hallway. At 1:30.
Down the hall here?
Yes, sir, we're going to have somebody standing out here in case somebody comes in that wants to attend while y'all receive the bids.
All right, and explain again how it's going to work.
Basically, the First Southwest is set up at your office, the administrative building, where they're going to be receiving bids at 11 o'clock today.
Okay.
They will go through the bids, tabulate the bids, and come and make a presentation at 1:30 to the board as a whole on the bids that came in and the interest rates associated with those bids for the board to consider the authorization of the sale of those bonds.
All right. Last week, okay, go ahead.
May I proceed?
Yes.
Item 5, approval of interlocal cooperative agreement between the County of Hidalgo, Edinburgh Consolidated Independent School District, the City of McAllen, and Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 that relates to extension of Russell Road. This is a project that we've been working with Precinct 4, I guess, for about a year and a half, Commissioner.
Yes, sir.
That I think we've got all the parties signed off on now, except for the district. And our participation will be for the placement of a box underneath the canal. The precinct is doing some of the roadway, the school district is building the siphon, the City of McAllen is participating with the precinct for part of the road construction.
Second.
All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 6, pursuant to Texas Local Code 262.026, opening of bids, ratification of addendum number 3 issued by Marty Salazar for extension of acceptance of application for bank depository and/or remittance process, lockbox, and/or other services, trust account services for Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 from acceptance date of March 5th, 2013 to March 12th, 2013, in as much as required extension due to pending response, clarification, review by legal, and thus allowing county to respond to participants' inquiry. This is a piggyback that the district does with the county, so we're following the same procedure the county has.
So move.
Second.
What do you mean pick? Whoever we pick at the county commissioners court, you'll be accepting?
Yes, sir.
And that's what
Yes, sir.
that motion is for then?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Do we wait until we take action?
I'm sorry, sir?
Do we wait until we take action and then come back to this item?
No, we take action on this because basically we're getting an extension, which you'll be getting an extension on Commissioner's Court also. Oh, is Marty?
Getting an extension. Are we confirming that whoever the county commissioners court accepts as their depository will be the depository for the
Yes,
drainage
sir.
district?
Yes, sir.
And that's what we're doing by this action then?
Yes, sir. We're extending because apparently there is some questions of Marty on the advertisement that the county is doing, so she has an extension request from the 12th to the 13th.
Is Marty here?
Nope.
Not right now.
Can you come and talk in the microphone, please, Norma?
Sorry, Judge. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Yes, I think she had requested an extension to the 12th, which is next Tuesday, instead of the 5th.
Okay.
That's all it was, 1 week.
Is that going to be the same thing for the county? You
Yes,
think?
sir. Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
So there's really nothing to do other than pass it for another week then?
Yes, sir. Basically to approve the ratification of the addendum number 3, which gives it a week extension.
All right. There was a motion made and a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 7, requesting approval of pool of pre-qualified firms submitting statements of qualification for ranking on an as-needed basis per project by the Hidalgo County Drainage District Number 1 for job projects requiring said services as set forth in the requirements stated in the district's request for qualification packet for the following services. Professional engineering services, we have 28 firms submitted. Under RFQ number 130030222A. Under RFQ number 130050222B, professional appraisal services, we had 3 plus 1 review appraisal. Under C, RFQ number 130060222C, professional surveying services, we had 13. So I'm requesting for the
Can
court's...
you explain how what was involved in these people applying and being selected?
Sure. Basically what we did, we received an approval by the board. We put an RFQ out, advertised in the paper, and also responded to people that emailed in their request. We submitted the RFQs out to these firms. The firms responded back with all of their qualifications as set forth, and they submitted it in, and every firm that complied with it was accepted in the pool. Once that pool is accepted, then the board has the ability to shortlist from that pool on specific projects they want to do, and then we come back to this board with the commissioner's ranking grading on 3 firms to select 1 firm. So the board has the ability to go to the pool of the 28 engineers, of the 4 appraisals, of the 13 surveyors, to make a selection for any project they want to do.
All right, I got a call from one person who applied and didn't get in.
It's not that he didn't get in, Judge. The problem was that that individual did not submit in the addendum that was issued out under the RFQ. But all of them were accepted, but that individual did not submit the addendum associated with it. So again, we followed the process, and out of 28, out of 30, we had 2 that did not submit in the addendum, but the other 28 did.
Okay, very good, sir.
So,
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 8, requesting approval to utilize the district's option to renew agreement number 12007013 gasoline on and off highway diesel for an additional 60 days under the same terms and conditions as to have no lapse in service during the bidding process.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
We do have item under closed session for the board's
This
consideration.
time pursuant to 551-071 and 072, need a motion to proceed to
moved.
executive session.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion carries. We will be in executive session for a short while. It's 9:19. Convening our meeting in open session for the Drainage District. Mr. Garza?
Judge, on the items under executive session, I request authorization to proceed as directed and request the board to recess as stated till 1:30.
All right, today we're going to be accepting some bids on our bonds, and but they're not going to come in till 11, and we need some time to evaluate them, our financial people do, and therefore we're going to be recessing this meeting until 1:30.
Yes, sir.
1:30 this afternoon.
The public is invited.
And it's an open meeting and everyone's invited. All right, the next,
Judge, could you take action for recessing the Drainage District?
So move.
Second.
those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much, Judge, Commissioners.
Thank you, sir. All right, at this time, we would proceed to convene a regular meeting of the Hidalgo County Commissioners Court for today, March 5th, 2013. The entire court being present, we have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Townsend?
Dear Father in heaven, we ask you to be with us today. Help us make good decisions that helps the whole county. We know more than anybody that you're the one who controls whether it rains or not. So we ask for your blessing of rain, not only for us, but for the parts of Texas that need it. We ask you to remember that we don't give thanks enough, but we do thank you for all your blessings. Please bless our families, bless our country, bless our troops, and bless everyone here. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Mr. Ofracio, any concerns with the consent agenda?
Discussion?
6E.
He wants to move it up.
Yeah. 8E.
8E as in Edward.
Marty,
And actually, if possible, this one too, C and D before A.
Marty. On
Ms.
item 8E, do you have a response to the concern?
Mr. Ofracio voiced a concern over...
On 8E, I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
E is in Edward.
Yes, we're concurring with the auditor's office. We will ask for no action.
All
We
right.
can approve the consent agenda except for 8E.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
That was the exclusion of 8E, is that correct?
I'm sorry?
Yes.
8E? Yes.
8E, in the consent agenda.
All right, at this time, there's a need to take an item out of order. Item number 6C.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. Item 6C, a report on bills before the Texas Legislature of interest to Hidalgo County. Two bills in particular which have to do with the merging of our university and our medical school possibility. We do have Israel Rocha and Ramiro Garza here with us today to take any questions or elaborate on where the status of those bills are and what progress we're making in developing a product to entice the legislature to bring that medical school here and the merging of the university.
6C. Good morning.
Good morning, County Judge and members of the Commission. Just wanted to sort of give you an update on where we are. There is two pieces of legislation that are involved in creating the medical school in South Texas. One is HB 1000 on the House side, and then you have SB 24 on the Senate side. To give you an update, HB 1000 has been heard on the House side, and they're moving forward with voting the bill out of committee. Our understanding is that that bill will be voted out sometime in the next 2 weeks. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., the Senate Committee on Higher Education will be hearing SB 24 as one of its first bills that they hear. There will be representation going forward from the Hidalgo County community and the Valley at large to talk about the importance of the university's merger, access to the PUF fund, and creating the South Texas Medical School. That hearing will be tomorrow, and we, from all indications and visits that we've had with the legislators, that seems to be moving in a positive direction, and the hearing should hopefully be met with good progress in passing the bill out of committee in about a 2-week period. So we expect that everything seems to be positive. One of the things that we want to make sure that's very clear to the Commissioners Court is that there really is there's two aspects to passing the medical school. One is the authorizing language, which is HB 1000 and SB 24. Those would allow the universities to be created into a new system and accelerate the creation of the medical school. But there is also another process, which is there's another process through the appropriations process, and that requires some funding that needs to be inserted into the appropriations bill for the creation of the medical school. The University of Texas system has asked our legislative delegation and the state of Texas to increase its appropriations for the Regional Academic Health Science Center by $20 million over the biennium. So that's an additional $20 million to help fund an additional $10 million per year to get the medical school in a development phase and transition it from an academic center into a full-fledged medical school. That request also needs to be kept on track and on our radar, because without that funding, it becomes very difficult for the medical school to be implemented. And so while we've had a lot of discussion on HB 1000 and SB 24, we also need to keep an eye on what's going on with the appropriations process to make sure that those funds are fully allocated. Right now, it seems that things are moving in the right direction. Our local delegations, both in the House and Senate side, have introduced a rider to the appropriations bill asking for that funding to be inserted, and we'll keep you posted on the development of that funding.
Can you elaborate on the language of the bill, both of them, as to any requirement that the medical school, the years 1 and 2 of the medical school, that be provided here in Hidalgo County as opposed to anywhere else within the district?
The legislation right now is not specific on where it's being created. What it does do is create a panel that would advise the university regions and where the first and second year will be located. The directions of that panel say that they have to look at a series of things that would, in order to determine the best home for the first and second year. One of those things is a long-term fiscal viability that would need to be implemented to be able to have a university medical school in a long-term phase. One of the things that comes to mind in that direction would be who can best financially meet the needs of creating the first and second year medical school in South Texas. That's one of the things that I know a lot of the local leaders in Hidalgo County have been meeting to sort of show that demonstration of support to the state legislature that our community has the ability to be able to maintain a medical school long-term. That's one of the things that will be asked in that committee before they make that determination. And I know it's one of the things that Hidalgo County leaders are trying to work on right now to create a package that would show that long-term investment ability.
Mr. Garza, were you going to be saying something?
The only thing I'll mention, Judge, is to thank the court and all your staff. I know y'all have been very involved, and that needs to continue. Our legislators on the House side have signed up, from what I understand, about 132 co-sponsors, and that is so key to make sure the legislation moves forward. On the Senate side, I think we have 20 senators that have signed up as co-sponsors. And so I think that's going to be key. I know not every one of us can be in Austin every day, but what was most helpful is communicating with those legislative offices. Tomorrow's Senate hearing, Chair Seliger, I think, is going to chair the meeting of the Higher Ed Committee. It'd be nice for, even if somebody on your staff could send them a little note on behalf of the county, on behalf of the precincts, indicating your support of the legislation. Those things go a long way. And even if we're not there, we can drop a card of support for the Senate Bill 24 that's being heard tomorrow. And so with that, Judge, we are continuing regional discussions. This is been a regional collaborative effort, and we hope to continue that because that is going to be key to this. But at the same time, the bill does specify specific ways of how the UT Regents will select where most of these facilities will be located. And so we expect to be very involved in that process.
That location it's going to be an issue. I mean, it's going to be very difficult to expect communities in Hidalgo County and the County Commissioners Court to come up with resources to locate a medical school outside the county. And, but I know that's being addressed, and I hope the language is clear enough.
Right. And I think that's what the bill accomplished. Everybody that's co-signing, I can let you know that all the co-sponsors are making sure that that does take place. They want to make sure that as decisions are made on locations that it makes sense. We're looking at it as an economic development project. I know you work on some of those projects. It's driven by the market, driven by decisions that will help a business succeed. And even though this is a government entity, being a school of medicine, we want to make sure it succeeds. And I know I have to thank the medical community also. They have stepped forward. I think I don't want to speak for the hospital, but I think Doctors Hospital Renaissance committed, I think 50 residency slots. Is that correct? Those go a long way. You can't have a medical school without having these residency slots. The students need to be able to take their 1 and 2nd year, then they need to be able to train at a hospital. And so we applaud all the medical community's efforts because it's going to be key to this legislation.
All right.
Ramiro, along with that, as you hold meetings or hearings or whatever, make a point that the whole Commissioners Court is behind this issue. It's not in one party, but the whole court is behind this. And not only behind it, but support it 100%.
Thank you, Commissioner. I will make sure that, as a matter of fact, I think in a meeting we had last week, we passed out the resolution that was approved by this court.
Correct.
And so we make sure we float that around. It is important, believe me. You know, the unity is key, and we really appreciate y'all's efforts in that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Judge, we had one other presenter on this item, Raul Cecine, I think has a bill that he wanted to advise the court of.
All right. Is this on item 6D as in David?
I believe it's C, Judge.
C?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Just quick, brief, I know last week I did on the public forum just some information on House Bill 611. We had an opportunity to go up to Austin yesterday and testify on that bill. And there's some good things coming out of that bill about some requirements that allows the county to help with the constituents enforce some of the requirements if somebody doesn't follow the proper subdivision rules and laws that we have. However, there's a couple items on there that I think we need to take a closer look at. There's a escrowing requirement that they're trying to get adopted before a plat gets recorded to allow for escrowing of monies up to $250 before even a plat is even approved. And that may be some concern of the possibility of people being taken advantage of. We have definitely a different population down here than the rest of the state, and I think we need to look closely at that. The other item, too, is a 90-day cure. If there's an administrative error of some sort on a plat, and they're asking for 90 days to cure it before the AG takes any action, I think we need to look at that to make sure we're not sending the wrong message, that we're going to open it up to be a little more lax on the requirements or what they're supposed to do. And then if they don't do them, then they have 90 days to fix it. So those are the 2 points. One of the other things is they're proposing to clarify the county's authority between 5 and 10 platting requirements for residential use. I think there's some language in there that needs to be worked on, and we're working with in-house counsel on that. But overall, I think it's a workable bill, but I just would caution those two items that we've been looking at and hope the court, I'll brief the court further on it and see where it takes us. But there's some other stuff in there that's good in the bill, and I think overall it could be a good bill. We just need to monitor some language on a couple of items there. Okay? Thank you.
I think in the past, Baldo, we have requested that you have a standing item on the report from Austin.
Raul, just a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Who's the sponsor of the bill?
Litigation.
Guillen?
Ryan Guillen.
Ryan Guillen, yes, sir. He's a sponsor of the bill, yes, sir.
Okay, and you've expressed these concerns to him so that he can modify the bill?
We did. We talked to, last year, 2 years, the last session, he filed a similar bill, had some language, additional language taken out of it this time around. There's a couple of, those two items are still there. They're kind of, I guess, a little tough to accept or work with. You know, it's workable. We just need to get to a better point at it. The other stuff, the other wording that I have in the rest of the bill, I think it cleans up some of the law, and I think it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it, but those two items I think are a little sensitive to our area. I think there could be some miscommunication, misunderstandings, and, you know, when you start exchanging money before you even have a plat done, then people may get the wrong impression, and we have great people here, great hardworking people, but we also, you know, have some that are with limited education, and we need to be cognizant of that and make sure that we do our job in protecting that. Okay?
Make sure you sit down with each commissioner and explain.
I will definitely do
the
that.
impact on the bill in
I'll
your
prepare
opinion.
another bullet point, Judge, on basically my testimony. I just mirrored what I testified yesterday, and I'll do that, sir. I'll
All
sit
right, sir. Thank
together
you.
with everyone. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Judge, item 6D, discussion and action in response to a letter sent to our state leaders from the county, the Conference of Urban Counties on HB 10. Eddie Olivares will discuss the letter that we're sending out, and I'll distribute it.
Judge, Commissioners, good morning. This is to review the discussion we had last week in regards to a concern from the Conference of Urban Counties in dealing with the disproportionate share of funding to our private hospitals in South Texas. As there's some action and discussion in regards to redistributing or reallocating the funding that would impact our hospitals here, since we do not have a public hospital infrastructure in place or health or hospital district in place. The impact may be very harmful to our hospitals here locally in that redistribution of money. With that in mind, the court directed for us to come up with a letter to be sent to the council, the Conference of Urban Counties, and I'll read it very quickly just for the record. This is addressed to Donald Lee, the Executive Director, Texas Conference of Urban Counties. Please accept this correspondence as a response to your recent letter dated February 18, 2013, discussing disproportionate share hospital program, DSH, in our state. Hidalgo County is a member of the Texas Conference of Urban Counties and is facing a similar issue to many of our state's counties in regards to funding the indigent health care needs of our community. The 1150 waiver project, once approved, will provide improved access to health care and expanding medical prevention, intervention, and treatment programs in our region. However, the concern for Hidalgo County and similar counties which do not have public medical infrastructure or hospital district would be the impact of redistribution or the reformulating of the state's DSH funds. In the event of such action taking place, the allotted amount for our private hospitals partners in our county may significantly decrease, in turn negatively impact access to uninsured or underinsured residents of our county. Hidalgo County Commissioners Court is inquiring into the potential effect that such redistribution may have to our county and its residents and the economic impact to our hospitals. Your assistance in this area would be greatly appreciated. Please keep our county informed on the action being taken in regards to these potential changes. We want to see how they respond to the changes, sir, and see if there was any legislative action we need to take at this time. But for right now, we just want to make it clear to the Conference of Urban Counties that they need to think this through, and there's many counties in Texas that do not have the infrastructure as indicated in their letter, that it may impact them financially in their community.
All right, so you need action from the court authorizing me to sign this letter.
Yes, correct, sir.
So moved. Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Can you make sure that, Mr. Olivares, that you sent copies of this letter to all the commissioners?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes, sir.
Judge, we have item 6B. We have County Treasurer Norma Garcia and Ms. Laura Hinojosa.
Yes, I was about to defer because we have
District
two
Court.
elected officials that need to have their issues addressed.
So 6B is resolution
Our
regarding
district
HB
clerk and our
958.
county treasurer.
Thank you, Judge.
Good morning.
Good morning. There's a resolution regarding House Bill 958 that I respectfully request that the court approve, which I'm going to spare you having to read the whole resolution and go right to the end that says, "Now therefore be it resolved that the Commissioners Court of the County of Hidalgo urge members of the Texas Legislature to oppose House Bill 958 as employers currently have local control of benefits and costs by reducing the amount employees are saving towards retirement or by reducing the employer's matching rate." In essence, what this is doing is trying to bring the 7% interest rate that employees currently earn in their retirement fund to 5%. Most counties in the state have passed resolutions opposing this particular bill, and I also understand that Representative Orr, who is the sponsor of the bill, has pretty much pulled the bill, but I feel that I want to go on record as opposing it in the event that this bill resurrects somewhere down the road. We still have another 90 days in session, and anything can happen. And I think Mrs. Hinojosa wanted to address you as well.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners.
Good morning.
We're hoping that you will sign off on this resolution so that we can send it to the Valley delegation as well as to Representative Orr's office.
Any questions from the court?
So move.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, both of you. Looking out for the best interests of our employees. Okay.
Judge, Commissioners, we also have item 8E. We have Constable Eddie Guerra in the audience as well.
Okay, what is the number?
I believe it's item 8E.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning, sir.
Item 8E, approval to accept the local Border Star Security Program for fiscal year 2011 in the amount of $40,000 from the Texas Department of Public Safety, Texas Rangers Division for the period of January 1st through August 31st.
Approval.
Second.
That'll include 1 and 2?
1, 2, and 3.
And 3. All right, those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item F, presentation discussion of the 2012 Racial Profiling Report presented to the, by my office in accordance with the Texas Code of Criminal Procedures, Article 2.133.
Move for approval.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's move back to open forum, item 5. First presenter is Opal Billman.
Good morning. My name is Opal Billman. I am being held in police-enforced false imprisonment in Hidalgo County. Joe petitioned for a divorce. The judge had one responsibility, to divide the community property owned by Joe and me in a fair divorce settlement. The judge has no interest in Joe. The judge has no interest in me. The judge has no interest in the property Joe and I own. The judge's involvement is as an impartial authority of the law to ensure that the law is upheld and the settlement is fair and just. That didn't happen. Action of the court was to appoint a beneficiary for our property. That's giving our property to someone else. When I asked the lawyer who represented me what happened here, his response was, "Opal, go to church. Find yourself a good man to take care of you. The judge didn't like you. Show me that Texas law." Joe died. The law is the case must be dismissed. That didn't happen. 16 years ago, 5 years after Joe's death, twice I was led to believe the case had been dismissed. Over a period of the next 4 years, twice I was tried for criminal trespass on land that I own. Twice the verdict was read by the judge and the jury in court as not guilty. I cannot trespass on land that I own. Amendment number 6 of the Constitution gives me the right to be confronted by whomever is claiming to own my land and is accusing that I am trespassing on his land. That didn't happen. A violation of Amendment number 6 and my constitutional rights twice. There is no one to come to court and claim that I am trespassing on their land. There is only the court-appointed beneficiary, the supposed future owner, who has no legal claim to my land and cannot make even an illegal claim to my land until my death, until I, the owner, am gone, which places my life in transparent court-appointed beneficiary peril and resolves nothing. 2 unconstitutional trials have already been held. The court now wants their 3rd unconstitutional trial for the purpose of placing blame on me for these unconstitutional trials to oust me from my house. That's unconstitutional rigging. Instead of the emperor wearing a new suit, the emperor is wearing no clothes. Under Texas law, I hold my community property jointly, equally, and undivided with the now estate of Joe Billman.
We have 30 seconds, ma'am.
Concerning a divorce settlement of our community property between Joe and me, the court did exactly nothing. Examine the court records. I own community property. It was earned over a period of almost 50 years. It is mine. The court cannot lawfully give away my community property. Actions of the court are un-American, unconstitutional, unlawful, and property entrapment or takeover. Under the Constitution and Texas state law, my country and Hidalgo County owes me my freedom, my liberty, and my property. Thank you very much, sir.
Next presenter is Virginia Townsend.
Good morning again.
Good morning, Ms. Townsend.
Seems to me, I remember when we changed Precinct 5 and pulled the constables from there. The constables from Precinct 1 said that was great. They were going to accept those constables to work and it would be okay and save us money because they were going to send those to the Delta area and everybody was going to be happy and everybody was going to have the right kind. Well, now he's asking for more constables. It's probably my pet peeve, one of them, that says whenever you promise something, you say you're going to do something, and then all of a sudden you change your mind and say, oh, no, that isn't enough. And also about Constable One's, they're building, and there's 89,000 plus added onto it. I don't know whether that's a change order. I don't know. I couldn't find it in the background that I tried to pull up. I don't know what that 89,000 is. Did they change it? Did they decide to add something else? I don't know. But, you know that word transparency? I really am getting sick of it because most of the time it's just a word and nobody means it. It's nothing if there's no action to it. So I don't know. I just like things a little bit more clear, and when you say something, you should mean it. Also, pertaining to the bills that are going to have something to do with the colonias, I think I asked you guys last year to please support them more than just letters or words. I asked you that when it comes down to the nitty-gritty and Raul Cecine says something is good and ready to go and solid and will help us, I asked you all to take a trip to Austin and testify. It makes a huge difference when the commissioners show up. And other counties do it. And they usually get, I'm telling you, people like us, they don't have to listen to, but they've got paid lobbyists that do whatever the developers want, and they get paid big bucks to do that. Well, we don't have a whole lot of standing when you're up against paid lobbyists, but you all would. So I ask you to please, when the time comes and Raul says there's a possibility of this passing, but we need some palanca, we need some more stuff. So you need to go. Please, I ask you to commit yourself to go to Austin and testify. Thanks.
Next presenter is Fern McClarty.
Good morning. I have a couple of concerns. I had several phone calls before last Friday's meeting because when you went to the county's website and you looked up the agenda and what time it was going to be, the first one came up at 1:40 and it showed March 1st, and it showed, I took the picture of the first page, it shows what y'all were working on. Then on the same front page of the county, it says CC regular canceled, and if you look at it, it shows, and everybody assumed that it was put up at 9:30, and it was canceled. So a lot of people thought that the meetings for the drainage district the same way. You have a 2 there, but no one knows what in the world a 2 stood for. So a lot of people assumed that those meetings were canceled. So I asked them this morning if there's a better way of letting people know, but this was a great bit of confusion for the public, not just myself, but several people. All right, the second thing, I looked on the agenda today, 7F and 7H is travel. We have on 7H, which is the IT department, we have 3 people that are traveling, and looks like the total is $3,190.25. And then you have 7H, which is the budget department. They're sending 5 people somewhere for $2,795.95. Why do so many people have to travel from a department? I know with IT, these 3 are, I believe, young ladies that are going. And our question is, isn't that a little bit much for 3 people? $3,190.25, and then, like I said, for the budget, $2,795.95 for those. Would you please check on the travel and see if they have to go, if it is a must, and what the county is getting from the travel? We never get any feedback on the money that we have spent from the taxpayers to go on these trips. Could we find out, maybe get feedback so we'll understand what our money went for? Thank you.
The next presenter is Lydia Jeffries. Ms. Jeffries?
No comment.
You're not going to speak?
No comment.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Next presenter is Robert Gill.
Good morning. The reason I'm here this morning is to present a claim to the county totaling $9,576. And the reason that is because back on January 15, 2010, I was attending a veterans open house at Edinburgh Hospital, and I was put in touch with an administrative assistant veteran services officer. For approximately 9 months, this gentleman kept giving me excuses and false promises that he would address my claim. The paperwork sat in the offices of the the Veteran Services for approximately 9 months until I chose to go to the DAV. The DAV got me my claim number, and I proceeded on with my claim. I, again, urge you to look at my documentation and the letters that took place from 2010 on. This document here is copy of the original papers that I filled out and were sitting in the Veterans Services office. There's a date on there. I signed them on January 27th, 2010, and nothing ever took place with this. I asked for these papers back many months later. I received them back. And again, I urge you to take a look at this claim and address it. Thank you very much.
Next presenter is Oscar Montoya.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. I'm here to give an update on the water allotment. As Commissioners requested last week to be on here on a weekly basis. I wasn't able to sign up for this week, but I will sign up after this one continuing. Basically, we had a meeting yesterday where Dr. Shaw from the state TCQ office and also Mr. Dracena from the IBWC came down to talk about our water situation. They were very impressed with the amount of people that were there interested in helping. They were thankful that Commissioner Cuellar, Commissioner Palacios, and Judge Garcia were there representing the court. Basically, the report is, it's nothing we don't already know. There is a situation with water. Basically, it's a conveyance issue with getting water to some of the cities, but the good thing about the meeting was it's obvious that people in Washington, people in the state of Texas, and even people locally are working together to solve this issue. In the end, there is some water situations. Some of the cities are going and doing some conservation efforts out there. And the bottom line is, from talking to the TCQ director, Dr. Shaw, he feels very confident, and this is the bottom line for us, there's not going to be any empty faucets in Hidalgo County. Now, that's not going to come without some work and a lot of teamwork and a lot of efforts. But if yesterday's meeting is any indication of the amount of people that are willing to help, I think it was a good showing. So they felt very comfortable, very confident that we shouldn't have any empty faucets, and in the end, I guess that's what's most important. So I'll continue to keep the court informed. There hasn't been a lot going on other than the meetings that they're having. As soon as I get something from them on their visit to Mexico, they're continuing to work with Mexico on the releases. That's being handled by the IBWC and by the TCQ director, or the water master director. And it got postponed maybe for about another week or so. but as soon as we get something on that, I'll be coming back to give you all some information.
Thank you.
All right, 6A.
Morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Rick Olives with the County Judge's Office on 6A. Discussion and appropriate action regarding Hidalgo County's legislative agenda for the 83rd legislative session and other issues affecting Hidalgo County. As you may recall, I was here last week with the presentation of the packet. This week's packet has some minor changes as to form, but the substance is the same, and I would like for some type of action, please.
Have you covered it with every commission?
Yes, sir.
Or their chief of staff?
Yes, sir. We send it out to every commissioner and their chief of staffs also.
Are there any questions, commissioners?
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, item 7, Mr. Guerra.
Judge, I believe that this is the same item every agenda where if there's action to be taken, we'll take it at the end of the agenda.
All right. There will be no action in on 7A, 1 and 2.
At this time.
At this,
All right, 7B. We got. We're going to wait for Mr. Guerra. He's in the back.
Yes, sir.
Get him over here. We're in 7B, Balde.
Is Mr. Sunday in the audience?
He's not in the audience.
Okay,
Mr.
Judge,
Sunday?
I don't see him, but the update that we have right now with respect to the modular project is we're setting up a meeting to address the AG's concerns with respect to the increase. They're telling us that their dockets will increase. They are doing some consolidation of their offices. And so I've gotten with Mr. Sunday. We have a couple of options to present to the AG's office, but I believe it's going to take a combination of those options so that we can meet in the middle.
Do we have any member of the Attorney General's office here, the Child Support Division? Did you let him know we were going to be talking about it, Mother?
Yes, actually, they were, if I'm not mistaken, they were in the audience Friday. That's why we said we were going to set up a meeting with them this week. But
Did you talk and discuss your recommendation of night court?
not yet. That's one of the options. I have the other option, which is going, actually, there's three options, Judge. One was the night court. That's not a new concept. That's done. The other one is to adjust the docket accordingly, as a result of what we have there at the modulars. And the third one is I'm looking at some space within the modulars. But I believe at the end of the day, it's going to take a combination of these options.
All right, well, we got to wait till Mr. Sunday and the AG's people are correct.
Right, yes.
All right, move on to the next one then.
Okay, the next one is under the Safety Division. Mr. Quintanilla is up at the podium. There is a concern by the Auditor's Office with respect to that item, but the concern I will address. This is a presentation for the court's consideration. Depending on the court action, then that would dictate me working with Mr. Cruz from the Budget Office to address the funding issue. But at this time, I can't put, as I've stated before, Mr. Ufracio, I can't put the cart before the horse. And so I'd like for Mr. Quintanilla to talk about the tail-end coverage. I do believe we have a representative from our agent is here.
That's correct.
Okay.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. The first item is item 1, discussion, consideration, possible approval of the tail-end coverage proposal from Untitled Insurance to extend travelers' insurance coverage for claims and management liability employment practices. What this is, Judge, when we came for you last year to approve our policies for this year, there was a change in carriers. We've been with Travelers since 2008, so this has never been an issue. We are now with a new company, and so in order to basically protect ourselves against possible claims that may or may not be out there for calendar year 12, they offer this tail-end coverage. The amount of the coverage that they're offering, Judge, there's two specific line items because these are claims made. They're not by occurrence, but they're claims made coverages. The first one is management liability, and to buy that coverage is $22,852. The second one is employment-related practices and liability, and that coverage is $289,643. Now, to give you an overview of what we've paid out in these particular lines of coverages, since 2008, there has been $967,855 paid out. However, the majority of that, $882,266, were in year 2010. We had two...
That was a precinct 1 issue, right?
That was a large employment issue, and there was a truancy issue, and they were both in that year, and they've already been settled. There was no claims made in 2008. 53,189 were paid out in 2009. 0 was paid out in 2011. And right now, there's about 300,000 in reserves for claims from 2012. To put this in perspective, the amount of money that they're asking for, the Travelers is asking for, is right about $300,000.
How much?
300,000, more or less combined.
That's the premium?
That's just the premium.
For how much coverage?
This is for the $26,000 payment is for a $2 million aggregate, and there's $2 million available. For the payment of $289,643, there's only $1.7 million available. Now, what is important to remember for the court, that's just to cover, this is more of an excess policy, because our SIRs are still $100,000. So let's just say, for all practical purposes, we get 3 claims from 12 that we didn't know anything about. And just for your information, your executive officer did his due diligence and sent out a memorandum to all the elected officials and department heads saying that if you have a claim that you know about, you need to report it now. So we've had a grace period of 90 days within this policy that's already covered. And so to try to gauge if we were going to get any of these type of claims in. What this does, let's just use the 3. If we got 3 claims, well, we've already expended $300,000, and we're still on the hook for another $300,000 in our SIR per claim. So the county is into it for $600,000 for $1.7 million in coverage. If we settle the claim within that $100,000 SIR, then obviously it doesn't touch the 1.7 and Travelers is not on the hook. It's a very expensive proposal for, in essence, of 9 months of
And the 9-month period is from when to when?
Would be April 1st through December 31st. Now, it's retroactive.
2012?
Yes. Now, the coverage, no, 2013.
2013.
For this year alone.
Judge, if I may, in essence, he's correct. It's tail-end coverage. In essence, what this is, it is an excess policy to cover any unreported claims from year 2012. So we had a 90-day grace period. We sent out a memo. There were a couple of officials who responded and says, look, I'm aware of this, or this came to my attention. We made sure and we reported those. There were no other responses. But in essence, this is a tail-end coverage for 2012 for any unreported claims. And the reason he says it's only...
January 1st?
I'm sorry?
January 1st?
Right, from January 1st. But the reason he says it's for 9 months is because we had the first 90 days are ours. It's a grace.
Yeah.
You reported within the first 90 days of the new year, you got coverage. So anything after March 31st, I guess is the
That
end
is
of it.
correct.
Anything after March 31st, if you didn't purchase the coverage, you no longer have We can no longer make a claim against the old insurance carrier. But again, Judge, it is an expensive proposition. We did experience this many years ago when we left TAC. There was coverage, but it was, again, tail-end coverage, and it was an excess coverage. We opted back then not to entertain the tail-end coverage because we did our due diligence in what we believed in identifying any and all potential claims. Now,
And again, that repeated itself in 2007 when we went from ACE to Travelers.
Right.
The same thing happened in 2008.
Yes.
When we went to the new carrier, we had 0 claims.
right,
Mr. Montalvo, was that the coverage from April to December?
How much money? 200 and what?
$300,000 roughly.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. What was the question, sir?
Is the coverage from April 2013 to December 2013?
No, and I wanted to go ahead and make a correction, okay? It's just not for claims that may have been in 2012. It's for claims as of 2008 up until the year end, just to let you know, so it's just not something that may have been...
Can you go through that again? It's from 2008 to when?
Right. See, Travelers came on to the, as far as the carrier in, I believe, July of 2008 or sometime in July in that year. So what you have is this coverage, if you so wish to purchase it, it's actually an endorsement to extend your reporting to the end of this year, the end of 2013, of any unknown claims out there. I mean, you could have somebody that knows about a claim and hasn't brought it up to anybody despite the letter and due diligence of Mr. Guerra, and then the current carrier is going to say, well, we're not going to cover that because you had prior knowledge because of the nature of these policies. So, does that answer your question?
Right, because one of the issues that I have, but is not so much the funding, it's also there's an invoice on the subsequent agenda item. The invoice is dated 2/27/13, but we're already in March of 2013. So the invoice is for...
That's when I placed the item on the agenda for coverages, and we asked for the invoices that date. But that's the actual date that we placed this on the agenda was 2/27.
What is the difference between management liability and employment? Sounds like it's the same thing. If there's a problem with employment, it's because it's related to bad management or something.
Yes, well, that's a very good question, Judge. You have employment practices liability is anything having to do with employment, wrongful termination, wrongful promotion, demotion, so forth and so on. The management is a type of claims, for instance, in the truancy case that you had. That was covered under that particular management coverage of the policy. And so it's really for mismanagement other than employment practices.
But it's before decisions that are made by management that somebody's going to file a lawsuit on?
Sir?
Is that coverage is for decisions that are made by management, county management?
That's correct. That somebody in the public or someone comes in and files a lawsuit for mismanagement, alleged mismanagement from 2008 up until the policy terminated in January 1/13.
Several years ago, Sheriff's Department had several hundred hours, 1,000 hours of overtime.
1996.
Is that more or less what we're talking about?
No, that actually, Commissioner, that had more to do with wage and employment.
But it went...
Well, it's an employment practice.
Right, it was an employment practice, but yes, but remember, if we recall, back then, we were under the Texas Association of Counties.
But would this policy cover that kind of a situation?
That's what I'm asking.
Yes, it would fall under the coverage umbrella if we were to have such a claim. But
Like those claims here a couple of weeks ago that came to the office.
yes, but again, the SIRs still hold.
Yes, yes, keep that in mind that every single claim has a $100,000 self-insured retention or deductible.
Right.
Mr. Montalvo, so would that example be covered? Let's say management did not pay the employees the wages that they were supposed to receive. Would the management...
That would be covered unless there's a specific exclusion regarding back pay, and I don't have the policy in front of me to verify that.
That's going to be important because that's really the issue that we're looking at.
Okay, well,
Where are we gonna get the money for this, by the way?
But we need to know if it's the back pay is excluded.
Well, can we check that and get back to you within this work period?
Yeah, I can check it right now.
Pero they may not cover back pay. Can you check to see if back pay is excluded?
I just have to make a phone call.
All right, can you do that, and we'll recess this item, and that way we can act on it today if possible.
Item D, if I may, Judge, Commissioners, item D is to accept the settlement check from Texas Municipal League, TML, in the amount of $1,079.60, and this is to settle an auto accident with one of our vehicles.
Move for approval. Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, item E, I'm asking, requesting permission to allow Lawrence Esparza from the Public Defender's Office to travel to Dallas to attend a CLE cross-examination seminar. This would be March 6th through the 8th.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item F for the IT Department.
For the record, Father, why don't you restate that the purpose of CLE is because the state bar requires it?
Yes, it is a state-required continuing education.
Yes,
For all.
But then, back on item E, is the county going to be responsible for all expenses related to this travel or only a portion? My understanding is someone is going to pay for some of those expenditures.
I'm sorry? It's your.
Someone else is going to pay for some of these expenditures related to this particular item E?
Okay.
Wouldn't it be up to you?
Well, that would be reflected on the travel request.
To approve the claim, no?
Right, and that's what I just wanted for the record, that there's someone else that's going to be responsible for some of those costs.
Right, and that would be reflected in the travel request for the fees. My purpose is to get authority for the individual to travel for. Now, again, the travel request form is going to indicate what the county is going to be responsible to pay for and not pay for.
But at this point, you don't know, because I think that I've heard that there's going to be some expenditures.
No, that's the first I hear of it.
Well, we'll pay whatever we normally pay unless, there's a grant out there or some state dollars that will reimburse us, that would be appropriate.
They'll be paid for them, okay.
Item F for the IT Department, I am requesting for those individuals to travel. It's Priscilla Menjares, Vivian Barrera, Clarissa Longoria, for them to attend the 2013 Odyssey User Conference. That'll be May of this year in Austin. For the court's information, Odyssey is the countywide program that we utilize. So it is important that they attend these type of training sessions.
Move for approval. It's a one vehicle.
I'm sorry?
It's a one vehicle.
We are following county policy with respect to travel guidelines.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item G, I'm asking permission to advertise two maintenance positions for facilities management.
They're already budgeted.
Yes, sir, they are budgeted. I'm just asking for them to be.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item H for budget and management, I do want to make one clarification. Ms. Flora Vasquez is our workers' compensation director. Earlier I heard that it's all from the budget office. She is on the workers' compensation side. But I am also asking for Sergio Cruz, Dina Trevino, Damari San Miguel, Ray Salazar, and Flora Vasquez to attend the TAC County Management Institute in Austin. This is an annual conference that's held that discusses all changes, potential changes, upcoming changes that need clarification for individuals to understand the impact. Just as a bit of a little background, I attended one of these sessions a few years back, and it was at this session that we were informed if we didn't have a certain policy in place, we would not be able to tap into FEMA emergency monies with respect to disasters. When we got back, and Marty, do you recall that session that we attended?
Yes.
When we got back, it was lessons learned. It was a seminar on lessons learned from it.
Continuing education, and it helps us become better employees.
Yes. But the point I was trying to make is at this conference, we came back, we adopted a policy, and then we had a bad storm. And the very first thing that the federal government asks is, show me your policy. Okay, so my point is, these seminars are important.
Move for
to this
approval.
county.
Need a second? Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Item I, am asking for the advertisement of Planning Analyst 2, and it is budgeted.
Move for approval.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Item 8, I'm going to take this up for Constable Precinct 1. After reviewing the submitted documentation, we are going to permit a purchase order to be issued. You will need to take no action on this item. There should be a PO by the end of the day. The elected officials submitted supporting documentation that showed the need for these necessary services. Thank you.
Judge, Commissioners, if I may, Mr. Ofracio did bring up whether or not on the public defenders, if there was going to be a certain fee paid by someone else. Monica just let me know that $245 registration fee was waived because the attorney obtained a scholarship that covered that registration fee. So the registration fee will not be paid by the county. All other fees will be covered by the county. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, Moni.
All right, next item, please.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Item 37370, Constable's approval to accept the local board of security program fiscal year 2013 LBSP 13 grant award number LBS 13-25 in the amount of $35,000 from the Department of Public Safety Texas Ranger Division for a period of January 2013 and to August 31, 2013.
Move for approval on B1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Item 37174, presentation and discussion of the 2012 racial profiling reported as presented by the Hidalgo County Constable's Department Precinct 1 in accordance with Article 2.133 of the Texas Code of Criminal Procedures.
Move for approval.
Second.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Judge, Commissioners, item D, if I may, the constable could not be with us this morning and asked if I would present that item for him. He is requesting approval to process payment. There are invoices as claims with VSL. They are invoice 0605-12/12-0256, 0605-12/12-0257. They are $15 and $60 respectively.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Richard Azula. Morning. Sheriff's Office, Hidalgo County, on behalf of Sheriff Guadalupe Trevino. Under number 9, Section A, it's authorization and approval to purchase through the State of Texas Surplus Property Program under Chapter 2175.001 of the Texas Government Code and under Section 262.02, 9C, being 4 2010 Ford Crown Victorians and 2 209 Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor model vehicles for the total amount of $37,000.
Move for approval.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Item number 2 is authorization for the purchasing department to issue a purchase order and the county treasurers to issue a check made payable to the Texas Department of Public Safety, and of course, after the county auditor's review.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Under 9B, it's approved to process the following AT&T invoices and claims with, of course, the authority for the county treasurer to issue the check after auditing procedures are completed by our county auditor.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries.
And under number 2 is the approval to add the following account numbers and telephone lines to the AT&T contract, DIR TEX-A as in Adam, N as in Nora, -NG-CTSA-005, account numbers being read as follows. First one is 956-330-373-003-3, and the billing date 2/19/13 of $472.55. The next was the 956-317-900-050-3, 2/9/13 and $1,500, or $1,501.87. And the last one being air code 512151, or the account number 5019861-4. The billing date 2/1/13 of $7,389.25.
Move for approval.
Sergeant, those are the invoices that were approved under one, right?
Yes.
Second.
Okay.
This is within the budget, Aldo.
I'm sorry, Commissioner?
This comes out of the budget.
No impact on the budget.
Well, it's been budgeted.
No,
as
no,
part
it's
of-
not.
Budget already, Commissioner Palacios. It's already been budgeted.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question, Commissioner. Yes, they are budgeted.
Well, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners.
Thank you. Item 10.
Morning, Judge Commissioners. Item 10A and B, sir, I do not have any action or discussion unless there's questions. I'd like to move on to item 10C, sir. These 5 items are claims being put forth because of a new policy involving telephone billing in the county. So you going to read each one of them, sir, or can I just cover all 5?
Yes,
Okay.
go ahead and cover him, Eddie.
Okay, item 1, approval to process payment of claim for telephone service AT&T vendor 328626 McAllen Clinic, and account number is indicated in the amount of $379.08. PO numbers indicated on agenda.
Go ahead.
Okay, approval to process payment of claim from T1 Line Service AT&T vendor, 328626 Edinburgh Clinic, account number indicated on agenda for the amount of $509.86. PO is indicated. Item 3, approval to process payment of claim for telephone services AT&T vendor, 328626 Mission Clinic, account number is indicated in the amount of $386.18. PO indicated. Number 4 is approval to process payment of claim for telephone services Verizon Southwest Incorporated, vendor 251577 for Westerco Clinic. Account number is indicated in the amount of $158, and requisition number is indicated. Number 5, approval to add account number 956-526-820-8247-7288 at 512-141-5012-4175, and account number is 956-581-8596-751 to AT&T Contract Direct Text ANG contract is indicated 005.
Are there any questions in item 10C, 1 through 5?
So moved.
Move for approval. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D, sir, is approval to process the AT&T invoices as claims without authority for county treasurer to issue check as auditing procedures are completed by county auditor as indicated on the agenda and those following items, sir.
Move for approval?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is approval to add the following account numbers and telephone lines to the AT&T contract, Direct Text ANG CTSA 005, sir.
Move for approval?
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Very good, thank you, sir.
For our clerk, make sure that the record reflects those specific numbers.
For the county clerk. Eddie.
All right, next item, 11.
Judge, Commissioners, Arnold Patrick for adult probation.
Yes, sir.
I did a presentation on Friday for the alternative incarceration program, and I was asked to come back because there was a question, I guess, with legal. And the alternative incarceration program was a program you all approved in late 2011. It saved the county in 2012 over $700,000. It's grown beyond my ability to manage it with the funds I have, and I've asked for 2 additional field officers to allow the program to stay at a capacity between 100 and 125, which will continue to save the county money.
Judge,
But this monies are already budgeted, according to this. It says
I don't
budgeted
believe so.
salary.
Judge, Commissioners, the funds for the two new personnel would come from the cost savings of the out-of-housing of inmates line item. Basically, we expect the savings of over $700,000 in room and board savings for a cost of about $110,000 for this fiscal year for these two new security technicians, and as well the operating costs that's needed for these two individuals.
What you're saying is, at the end of the year, we're not gonna have to come back and insert more money to the budget, right?
That is correct, sir. We should see a net savings of about $600,000 with the addition of these two new personnel.
Judge,
But as far as his budget, it's going to be increased by $60,000.
That is correct, sir. The adult probation budget would increase by $110,000 for this fiscal year.
All right, any other questions?
Judge,
Yes.
last week when this item was discussed, there was a question about a policy. Was this in compliance with the policy? The policy was approved subject to legal review. I have not seen legal approval of that policy. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't think the policy is in effect yet.
Regardless of that, Mr. Frasco, the intent of the policy was that we would not be taking funds out of the general fund into this budget. Because he's doing an intergovernmental transfer on item 4, this would be in compliance with the intent of the policy.
Right, but again, my question is, has the policy been, is in effect yet? Because it was approved subject to legal review and approval, but I have not seen that, so in my mind...
That policy is not in effect at this time,
All
but
right,
the
okay.
intent is.
That's what I wanted to clear. All right, thank you.
Move for approval, 11A, 1 through 5.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Crane?
Item 12, IT.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. Judge, Commissioners. I'm sorry, my phone died on me here. Okay. Here we go. These are telephone activations for the County Judge's Office and the Fire Marshal. Approval of 12A, authorization and approval to purchase and continue wireless device services through the county's membership with the contract for Sprint and then Verizon. So these are data cards for the Emergency Management Department and the Fire Marshal. They're finishing out their Sprint contract, then they're disconnecting and then moving and rolling over to Verizon.
Move for approval.
Are those listed somewhere, sir?
I believe there's an attachment. Yes, there's some attachments here as well on the item, sir.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Item 13, Urban County.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Our first item on the agenda is a request on behalf of Precinct 4. They're requesting the approval of the best and final negotiated contract for surveying services with DOS Land Surveying LLC in the amount of $22,000, utilizing the Texas General Land Office funds for the drainage improvement project.
Move for approval.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item B, Judge and Commissioners, is a request for the County Commissioners Court to authorize the County Judge Ramon Garcia to sign a partial release of lien regarding an assisted client under the owner-occupied rehabilitation program. As it turns out, we assisted a client who now has property that the county is in need of for the road improvements. So therefore, after discussing this item with our county attorney, actually Steve Crane, he's recommended that we place this on the agenda for the authorization.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C is a request on behalf of the City of Sullivan City requesting the approval of the best and final negotiated contract for construction material testing services with Millennium Engineers Group in the amount of $1,893.75. This will be using the year 25 funding for street improvements on Maudo Street in Sullivan City.
Move for approval.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
We are requesting no action on item D. We had a typographical error, and we need to get additional clarification. Item E is requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code 262.024A4 for professional engineering services.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is a presentation of the scoring grid for the purposes of ranking by the County Commissioners Court of the at least 3 material testing firms from the county's approved pool as graded and evaluated by Precinct 4, the Urban County Program, and the Purchasing Department. The grades were provided as professional, for Robert Kistner, 98.67, LNG Engineering Laboratory with 98.34, and PSI Laboratories with a grade of 93.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion, there was an aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Item 3 is requesting the authority to negotiate a professional material testing service contract with the #1 ranked firm of Robert Kistner.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next item, 14, our WIC program.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I have a line, it's item A, approval to accept FY 2013 WIC Admin Grant Award number 2013-042599-001 in the amount of $5,502,694, commencing April 1st, 2013 to September 20th, 2013, pending receipt of the amended contract.
Move for approval.
Second.
Can we approve B, C, and D and E?
Of A through E.
Okay.
Judge,
Yes.
I have a comment regarding 14A-E. Actually, all of the agenda items there are for WIC. She's requesting approval of a salary schedule. Salary schedule was not attached to the agenda item. I don't believe it's necessary for the action on that item since the salary schedule was approved during the prior approval of the WIC grant award. The grantor agency provides funding on a 6-month basis. The court accepted the first 6 months. This is the second 6 months. So at that time, the salary schedule was approved for the program. So either...
We don't need the last one.
If she wants to reattach it, she can do that, or there's no need to approve it again since it's already been approved.
Ms. Norman, were there any changes to the schedule?
Okay.
There
if
was
she
a
wants-
change in the, in January with the raise.
So salaries changed?
Well, you're talking about the cost of living.
Cost of living.
Okay, so the last time that we approved, the last salary schedule that was approved did not take into consideration the cost of living adjustment.
Correct.
Okay, Mr. Frasso, then that means that there was a change from the last time that the court accepted it. So this one, I do believe you would have to take action so that the cost of living adjustment is
But it needs to be
recognized in the
attached,
schedule.
there's no attachment.
He just
there,
wants
so-
an attachment,
Attached.
a list
We need to know
of
what
names
you're
and
approving.
amounts.
There was attachment, right?
Okay.
We already attached.
Good.
They are attached?
Yes.
Okay. So you need approval right now, 14A1, A, B, C, D, and E?
Correct.
That's a motion.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Number 2 is the approval to accept the FY 2013 WIC Breastfeeding Peer Counselor Grant Award in the amount of $427,708, commencing April 1st, 2013 to September 30th, pending the receipt of the contract. And it would be for A, B, C,
Move for approval.
D, and E.
Second.
A through E.
And those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carried. That covers 2 through A through E, right?
Okay. And 3 would be registered dietitian, approval to accept the FY 2013 WIC Registered Dietitian Grant Award in the amount of $22,500, starting April 1st, 2013 to September 30th, 2013, pending receipt of the documents, and that would include B, C, D, and E.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Number 4 is lactation services. Approval to accept the FY 2013 WIC Lactation Services Grant Award in the amount of $20,000 commencing April 1st, 2013 to September 30th, 2013, pending receipt of amended contract, and that would include A, B, C, D, and E.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
5 is the WIC Mini Obesity Grant, and that's in the approval to accept FY 2013 WIC Obesity Prevention Grant in the amount of $10,000 commencing April 1st to September 30th, 2013, pending the contract, and that would include A, B, C, and D. There was a typo, it should be C and D.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
And before I go on to the next item, I just wanted to give you an update on the sequestration that's going on right now. We received a call from Texas WIC office saying that it would not affect our WIC services here in the state of Texas. So I just wanted to make you all aware of that we're, we're serving people and we have no cuts in place.
Ms. Longoria, there's no salary schedule under 5. You don't pay any salaries under that grant?
No, we don't pay direct salaries to anybody. Okay, B, we have a lot of activities going on in the month of March, so I did not I normally have a proclamation because it would be like 3 proclamations that I would have to put or attach. So what I wanted to do was have a recognition of the month of March as National Nutrition Month, and also with March 13th as a designated day to recognize Registered Dietitian Day, and then March 6th, which is tomorrow, to recognize International Board Certified Lactation Consultants Day, which we do, have, and I would like to have them come up, if you all could, please.
Okay.
We employ registered dietitians, and we employ International Board Certified Consultants. This is Diana Cardona, she's my breastfeeding coordinator, plus she's an IBCLC, and Sandra Escamilla, she's our IBCLC also. She works at the hospital at Renaissance and Baby Cafe. And then this is Cassandra Suarez, she's our nutrition ed coordinator, and she's a registered dietitian. And then Ryan Rios, he's our registered dietitian, and he works at administration, and he does all our training. And we'd like to take a picture with you all, and we have a little something for you all, in this commemoration.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Norman. Thank you, manager. Ladies. All right, we got about 40 minutes left. Next item.
Right away.
Item 15, our right-of-way department, Mr. Peña. Okay, we're going to move on to item 16, planning, Mr. Cecine.
Judge, Commissioners, good morning again. Just Rosen Planning Administrator, real quick. We have preliminary approval of Lantana Ranch Phase 2 subdivision. It's a 9-lot subdivision located in the ETJ of Mission. It has been approved by the City of Mission. It's also been routed to the different county departments and has received preliminary approval and also been presented to the Division Advisory Board, and they are recommending preliminary approval, so is my office as well, for this Lantana Ranch Phase 2 subdivision. It's in order.
Need a second? Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carried.
Item 2 is final approval of financial guarantee of Los Feliz Phase 1 subdivision. It's a 20-lot subdivision located in Precinct 4. This subdivision has also been routed to various county departments. It has been approved by our subdivision advisory board. It is in the rural area of the county, so there's no ETJ approval for it. Everything's in order for the final approval with financial guarantee. For the record, their cash deposit of $30,000 for the OSSF and $11,988 for the roadside grading drainage improvements.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
And last item is reimbursement cash deposit County Lake subdivision, precinct 4. They're asking for a final reimbursement in the amount of $95,220.98 for the final improvements that have been completed and inspected by my office. I know the auditor had, I believe, a point of concern, but the reimbursement will be made to Cardinal Lake LTD, which is the entity that issued the check.
Yeah, I think Cardinal Lots LTD was the
Yes,
one
sir.
to make the
We have no
payment.
objection to that.
So we're going to reimburse them.
Yes, sir. Everything is in order for reimbursement.
Need a second? Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion.
Thank you very much.
Item 17, Precinct 1.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Morning, sir.
We're requesting approval of an advance funding agreement with TxDOT. This is for the Mile 2S project, which is, and as a matter of fact, the agreement, we just received these from TxDOT Friday, and we placed on the agenda, they need them by this Friday. I know there were some concerns from the auditor's office, and Sergio, you want to help me with this, but there were some concerns with some typing errors, but I believe they were corrected. Sergio? And there was also a concern about the financing of this project. Now, the agreement calls for a $1.5 million contribution. This is a $9 million project, and it calls for a $1.5 million contribution in the construction. However, yesterday we met with TxDOT, and we've been meeting with them at least once a week, and their figures are going to be more like $764,000. Of the 700, and we will get that notice, and we will have to pay that amount in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We have approached the city of Mercedes, and they are contributing $342,000 of the $700,000. Also, the drainage district, because there's some outfalls involved in the construction of this road, will be putting an amount for the drainage, which has yet to be determined. However, we will have, when we get the request, the final request from TxDOT, which we should be getting in 2 weeks, the amount that we need to send to TxDOT for the letting in April, at that point, we will bring you and identify all the funds, and we do have some funds in our COs also that we can use. So, Sergio, anything else?
Basically, we are recommending that we approved this AFA. We will be bringing back, again, when we bring back the item to request remittance of the payment to the Texas Department of Transportation, we will have the funding items associated with that payment request at that time as well. And that'll also give us time to get any amendments to the interlocal with the city of Mercedes to include the $342,000 contribution on their behalf, brought back to court and also certified as revenue as well.
So, Sergio, you're saying at this point, you don't know where the funding is going to be coming from?
No, we've identified the $342,000 from the city of Mercedes. The rest of the funding will be coming from COs 2010 A and B, from the precincts allocation, and then there's also going to be another allocation that we'll need to appropriate from the CO's fund balance as well.
Right. That's what I'm saying, so the county's portion would be from COs?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Judge, Commissioners, if I may, I apologize, I was in the back. I understand that the item 15 right-of-way was not acted on. I do have some information. Mr. Peña is not with us today. This is a request to secure the services of the AG's office to represent the county on a condemnation. This is for project FM 681. We do have the right language on there to authorize the county judge to sign any
All right,
document
if
as
there's
well.
no questions, would entertain a motion to approve.
Judge, a couple of comments on that particular line item. The agreement has blanks and there's some typographical errors. And also, we don't see the review of legal
has
counsel
reviewed.
documented yet.
Mr. Crane's office did review the documents. Legal has reviewed that.
I guess subject to the corrections, Valde, on that document? Also,
Yes,
'cause
we'll look
there's
at those typos that you're referring to. But this is, we do need to take action on
Move
this.
for approval with
Thank you.
correction.
Check. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Good morning, Commissioners, Judge. Item 18A is approval for interlocal cooperation agreement between the County of Hidalgo and Edinburgh CISD.
Move for approval.
Check.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, that is a cooperative agreement. We've come with the Edinburgh School District to develop a park in the San Manuel area. We are purchasing the land from the school district. In tune, they're going to give some financial support for the park development, so it's a joint project for that area.
Where's it at?
It's going to be on the east side of the school, of Brewster School, which is the section that's fenced right now. About a 10-acre park development
On Brewster.
in Brewster, right on the east side of Brewster.
The agreement indicated that there was going to be potentially some improvements
At
purchased.
this point, and I verified that with Ms. Fong, that there has been no improvements done to the property, and that's what the survey. Item 18B, approval for multiple use agreement by the state of Texas and between the Texas Department of Transportation and Hidalgo County, Texas.
Move for approval.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Was there any action on A or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Has that been reviewed by legal?
Yes, sir. I have it signed right here. It was signed by Mr. Crane.
Item 19.
Thank you, sir.
Now, Judge, going back to 18B, I'm sorry,
Which one?
18B. The county is going to construct some structure or do some construction, and also, according to the agreement, the county is going to be responsible for the maintenance of the construction. And,
Basically, what we're looking at, we're just doing a monument sign. It's
Yeah.
just little bit of brick and mortar, put erect some flags there. We're not doing any monumental construction in that site. We're not building a facility. We're just basically a landmark of the area. And we're trying to improve the detention facility that the state had placed in there for the outfall of the expressway. We're not looking at spending much money, but what we're trying to do is control the area. In the past, it's been used for, they say, illegal activities there. We're trying to prevent that by beautifying it and restricting vehicular parking in that area.
yeah, I think there's going to be also some fencing, and
Yes.
my thinking is that you might want to consider some kind of an agreement, because you're going to build on state land, I'm assuming.
Right.
So, an agreement that would spell out the public purpose, because I don't think the county is responsible for constructing these kind of structures. So,
The MUA has been reviewed and signed off by Mr. Crane.
And to shed light, that is our staging area when we do have fires. We're restricting access, public access, but we're also going to utilize it for staging. So the county does use the land when we do have fires or anything that happens up on the north side. We do utilize the piece of land. Initially, we thought of purchasing it, but the state thought that it'd be better for the county just to have a joint use agreement of the land, so it wouldn't be an expense to the county for purchasing the land. So there's a dual use. The state uses it, and the county uses it as well.
All right. No other questions, we'll move on to item 19.
Thank you.
Judge, before we go to item 19, there's a correction that needs to be made to consent item 4B. So I'm going to request the court to rescind approval of the consent agenda so that we can address that item.
What were the numbers again?
Item 4B. So if I could have approval to rescind the approval of the consent agenda?
What are we rescinding? I mean, why are we rescinding?
Item 4B, there's a correction to the amount. The amount that's listed on the agenda is $20,000. However, the amount of the transfer will only be $6,000.
Judge, that's only what we can address 4B because it's already been approved.
Well, what do you propose we do? In order to
Rescind your
correct
action approving the consent agenda.
Sir?
Rescind your action approving the consent agenda, and then pull 4B, approve the consent agenda, and then discuss 4B.
All right. Need a motion to rescind the action we took on approving the consent agenda. We have a motion and a second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Now, I'll request approval of the consent agenda with the exception of 4B and 8E.
Correct.
Move for
Yeah,
approval.
he got it. Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On item 4B, the transfer for the Precinct 1 Illumination Project, we're requesting a correction to the transfer amount from $20,000 to $6,000. If I could have action on 4B with the corrected amount of $6,000.
Move for approval.
Second. Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And there will be no action on 8E. On item 19-0 AI 37386, I'm requesting no action. Item 19-0 AI 37418, which is Special Revenue and Internal Service Revenue Funds, I'm requesting approval of the 2013 appropriation of funds to fund various PO rollovers for these special purpose funds.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
On item 19A1, requesting approval to authorize clothing allowance in the amount of $500 for one full-time lieutenant, step 1 position, slot number 0015, effective 01/01/13, with the approval of the interdepartmental transfer and revised salary schedule.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
Thank you. Item 20.
Yes, nothing to, Martha Salazar for purchasing under 20A1, 2, A, B, and C, no action or reports to be given or to be taken. Item 3 is pursuant to Local Government Code 262026. I ask for the ratification of moving the acceptance dates for your applications for county depository from March 5th to March 12th, as we needed enough time for the participants, which have shown a lot of interest, to make a timely submission.
Second.
Item 4 is an item...
Hold on. Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. Go ahead.
Item 4, as we discussed on Friday, this is an opportunity for precincts 1, 2, and 3 to add to the scoring committee for the bank depository applications. We need one. Precinct 1.
Who are the members of the committee?
It is the investment committee, which is yourself, the treasurer, and the budget officer. Mr. Guerra is on, I'm on, and precinct 4 has named Mr. Chris Trevino. So precincts 1, 2, and 3 have the opportunity to add to it as they had requested.
I think it's appropriate that they be included.
Oh, certainly, that's why we're doing this, but we need to know the names.
Mario, last week. Precinct 2, Raúl Chilguero.
Yeah, Precinct 1, Raúl Lozano.
Who? Raúl Lozano?
Joe.
Commissioner Palacios? 2?
You said Raul Seguero.
Yes.
Right.
And I will get a hold of Commissioner Flores, if he's not present, to ask for the name as...
All right.
Marty, last week you indicated that there were 3 graders and 2 consultants, yourself and
Correct.
executive officer. But I thought you had mentioned also...
The tax office?
Tax office as a consultant, right?
Yes.
Years past, you also had the county clerk and or at least district clerk.
Well, we have their input as far as necessary figures that are required by them. But they would be in if the committee so wishes, they can be brought in to give additional information. as to needs that they may need as far as account setting up and things that are necessarily negotiated in that
How many
application.
bids, how
So far, we have 8 banks that are requesting packets. Now, they will be received here in Commissioners Court. That is the way the statute reads, next Tuesday.
Let me suggest, Marty, that when you set up the meeting, that you allow enough time so you can complete the process sooner.
Oh, to select a bank?
Yeah, because there's 6 or 8 people that will be assigned to it.
Yes, sir, we'll start the,
And make sure that that is coordinated and hopefully everybody would be present.
yes, sir.
In order not to drag it out, spend as much time as you need in reviewing.
Yes, sir. I certainly will. Thank you.
Marty, so again, we got 7 graders, right?
Yes, we have the investment committee and the 4 members from Commissioners, 5 members from, well, the judge is already on the
Right.
investment committee.
Right, 5.
So we have 3 and 4 and consultants about 2 to 4.
Right. So again, 7 graders and the rest be consultants, they're going to provide input?
Correct. We will not be scoring.
Okay.
We will be, well, I'll be supervising the procurement process, and Mr. Guerra and other members would, like the tax office, would be including their information that we may need as, the committee may need to score.
Marty, do you also allow the individuals that were selected as members of the committee to grade to then sub to somebody else or not?
It depends on it depends on the situation. If they're going to do that, then that's the member that has to attend all the meetings. We had a situation like similar to that just occur with your Section 125 in which Ms. Chapa could not render the duties, so Mr. Michael Leo was substituted for her, but with the judge's knowledge and consent, and it was from the beginning, he was the one attending the meetings.
Is that documented anywhere? Because we've seen that before when we reviewed the grades and the grading, and we've seen that the individual that was selected on a committee is not the one that actually graded.
In this case, it was documented in the fact that Ms. Chapa advised us that due to scheduling problems with some travel that she had to do for the judge, Mr. Leo had to take over the duties.
We've got 6, 5, 11 minutes left.
I have just a few more. B1, let's see. I've got already, B1, this is Precinct 1, requesting exemption from competitive bidding under 262-024A, professional service.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The scoring grid for the purposes of ranking is LaFever Environmental at 98, Rio Delta at 89, and Briones Engineering at 93. Does the court wish to grade them in the order of their scores?
So moved.
Need a second? Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C would be to authorize the purchasing department to negotiate a contract with the number 1 ranked.
So moved.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Precinct 2, which is C1, requesting supplemental agreement 1 to work authorization 7, reflecting $4,800 increase, bringing the total to $19,200, and that's with R. Gutierrez for border road project.
So moved.
Check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item D1, Precinct 4, requesting exemption under 262-024A for a professional service.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Presentation of the firms and the scoring grid for the purposes of ranking, that being DBR Engineering Consultants at 95, Half Associates 97, and Urban Infrastructure Group at 94. Does the court wish to rank them in the order of their scores?
So moved.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Authority for purchasing to negotiate an engineering services contract with the number 1 ranked.
So moved.
Check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
In item E1, Constables, acceptance of approval to award the best value proposal from job order contractors for Constable Building Precinct 1 as follows. A, Facilities USA, and that's a total not to exceed $89,156 for concrete work and water line improvements.
Judge, there's no funding in place for this particular
We're having
Item.
the Department of Budget and Management address that concern.
We've submitted an emergency transfer, Judge Commissioners, to the auditor's office, and that has already been processed. So we forwarded that over.
I need a vote on A.
So,
Yes.
Oh, it's already been voted on?
No.
Oh, we have not?
No.
So moved.
check.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And Alpha Building Corporation, 2009-3537, for alternate 2, silt fence.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The last item I have, F1, Sheriff's Department, acceptance and approval to execute the final form of a professional construction management agreement with Prodigy Construction for the law enforcement adult detention facility roof and related repairs project.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, that is all I have.
Judge, está Mr. Montalvo. I don't know if he's got the answer we needed or...
Monse, do you have the answer?
Judge and Commissioners, in looking at this, we looked under both the management and the employment. We spoke with our counsel that's addressing that particular issue, I believe, to look at these exclusions as well.
Mr. who?
Victor, from the DA's
Oh,
office.
Victor.
To look at the exclusions. He has a concern with one of the exclusions that he feels could apply, and it is under the employment one, which is the 262.
Well, do you want to wait till another week to get him to clarify
What
it?
we're going to do right now, and what I've requested from him, is to give me a copy of the file so that I can go ahead and make the claim right now, and it falls within our allotted time.
Okay.
But others that might come down after April 1st, no more ability to make a claim, so.
So you're gonna bring it back then next week or what?
Well, we would have to take action because of the time that it takes to issue a check. And Mr. Ifracio, I spoke with Mr. Montalvo, and if the court does approve it, he will resubmit invoices as of today's date.
But the issue is, are we going to be approving the additional coverage, the
That's correct.
26,000 and the 287,000?
My recommendation, there's two, Judge.
And the concern that was voiced by Commissioner Flores was, he favored it, but he wanted to make sure that it covered back pay.
There's no specific exclusion regarding back pay, but as Mr. Quintanilla mentioned, there's an exclusion having to do with employment loss arising out of any violation of the duties, so forth and so on, of an employer. So, that may-
Victor, why don't you come in and give us your opinion?
Good morning, Commissioners, Judge.
Yes.
I did give a tertiary review of the exclusions, and there are some exclusions that would specifically affect issues related to the Fair Labor Standard Act. In terms of back pay, there are instances when there's liability to the county, as long as the back pay is deemed some type of monetary compensation. Our office believes that we can limit county liability. I think that the question with regards to back pay was brought up as it relates to the certain claims that we're aware of and the potential for liability with regards to those claims. As it relates to those specific claims, which we'll be submitting to the Safety Division's office to get document prior to this deadline, I believe that the exclusion would apply in that instance. Generally speaking, in regards to back pay, so long as it's not law enforcement related, we believe that we have a strong opportunity to defend the county, to limit liability for the county when the back pay is essentially money
Do you need
damages.
additional time to look into it, or do you?
We don't have much time. We got a week.
Yeah, well, a week would, Victor, would that help you?
certainly would help us. I think we can give a much thorough review of this particular policy and allow the court to make an appropriate
I mean, it's
determination.
something that we feel is appropriate, but we want to make sure that that issue is covered, the back pay. That that's where the money would be.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, there's other issues.
We can bring it back, no, next week?
Yeah, we can bring it back next week.
All right, sir.
Okay, Judge, we do need to go into executive session, Judge. Closed session.
Sir?
We do need to go into closed session.
Yes, pursuant to 55107.1 and 072, this time would entertain a motion to proceed to executive session.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item open session, item 22A, real estate acquisition, no action. Item 22B, pending under potential, there is no action. Item 22C, Erasmo Chapa versus Hidalgo County, we will just continue as directed. Item 22D, claim of Jose F. Garcia. Judge Commissioners, I would like settlement authority to make an offer of $9,000.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. If the offer is accepted, Mr. Ofracio, it would be payable to Jose F. Garcia and Macias Law Firm. Yes, okay. Item E, David Duran versus Hidalgo County, cause number 712 CV 116, Luis Caudillo versus Hidalgo County Sheriff's Department, CL 11 2010D, claim of Brian Valadez and claim of Consuelo Gonzalez. Judge Commissioners, for the record, these suits and claims, we are being represented by Gonzalez Palacios LLP. For the record, Gonzalez Palacios LLP has been dissolved, and Mr. Ricardo Palacios, who is the lead attorney that is representing us in these cases, now has a firm, Palacios and Associates PC. So I wanted to put on the record that the former representation exemption that we did under Gonzalez and Palacios will now change to Palacios and Associates. And so I'd like to go back to item 7A 1 and 2, requesting exemption for competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 26202-4A4, professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation. If I could have a motion to that effect.
Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, I need to abstain for the record.
Yeah, for the record.
Valdez, let me see if I understand this
Bring
correctly.
that affidavit, money.
Gonzalez Palacios was already helping us with this case?
Gonzalez Palacios, the firm of Gonzalez Palacios was assigned to these cases. Gonzalez Palacios is now Palacios and Associates PC.
Okay.
And so
So basically just switching over to...
I'm switching over,
the
yes, sir,
firm?
but we still have the same attorney, lead attorney representing us in all these cases. And so I just want to make the record clear. Okay, so item 7A2, I'm requesting engagement with the firm of Palacios and Associates PC, specifically for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation, authority to submit a letter of engagement for the aforementioned cases that I mentioned earlier.
We need an action on that item.
So moved.
Need a second? Those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, I'm abstaining for the record. And I have signed the affidavit.
And that is all we have today, Judge, Commissioners.
Is that it?
Yes,
I need a
for,
motion to, yes.
I don't know, there may be a need to,
Court next week. Is there
on moving the meeting date.
Move it for 1:30?
Yeah, we're going to be here at 1:30, Commissioner.
oh, for next week?
For next week.
We may have a quorum issue for Tuesday, Commissioner?
Yes.
The
Okay.
request is if there's any other day we can meet next week.
Oh, I'm not sure. What's the problem Tuesday?
Well, just prior commitments and spring breaks.
Spring break.
I'll tell you what,
Ya está viejo para eso. ¿Para ir para la isla o para dónde esté?
Judge Commissioners, what I will do is I will work with everyone today, and we will find a date that is suitable if it is not Tuesday.
Is it going to be next week, or are you looking at canceling the whole week?
No.
No, we would have Commissioners Court next week, but it may not be Tuesday. I will make sure that we properly disclose to our constituents when that date would be.
No one.
Okay? Thank you.
Okay.
We do need to adjourn.
Move to adjourn?
Need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Let's go to the other.
Yes, the only one we're going to be back on is the drainage.
At Drainage at 1:30, I do need 4 representatives of the board back at 1:30.
All right, those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Meeting's now adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.
Mónica.